call the midnight mark a myth, a ghost story. A rumor freshmen whisper in the back of the Arkenfall Library to scare each other away from wandering once the sun slips below the iron gates. But I know better. In a place that smells like old paper, expensive cologne, and secrets that could ruin a family name, the myths are usually the only things that are real. My name is Alara. For 3 years I was the girl no one saw, the scholarship kid, the one in the shadows with her head down, the one who did whatever it took to cling to her one escape route out of a life spent serving the heirs of Arkenfall. The plan was simple: graduate, disappear, never look back. But tonight, as the clock creeps toward midnight, I don't feel invisible. I feel hunted. And the worst part is, a small, pathetic part of me wants to be caught. Across the quad, the after-dark ball is in full swing. I can feel it even from my tiny dorm room. The bus thrums through the stone like a second heartbeat. Laughter drifts up. Every so often a burst of music swells just enough for me to catch a lyric before it fades back into rain and distance. I wasn't invited. Not officially anyway. People like me don't get gold ink invitations slid under the door. We get tuition reminders and GPA warnings. I tell myself I don't care. I have my own rituals. A chipped mug of tea. Notes highlighted to the edge of sanity. The warm amber glow of my desk lamp soaking the pages. Outside, the rain draws silver lines down the window. It turns expensive cars and black umbrellas into blurred smudges of light. Safe. Invisible. Just how I like it. Except tonight, the quiet feels wrong. Too thin. Stretched tight, like something is pressing against it from the other side. My gaze drifts to the photo on my wall. It was taken during the first week of term, 3 years ago. The welcome ceremony on the central lawn. Students in crisp uniforms. The dean on the steps. And off to the side, him. Kade Valen. Even in the blur of the picture, he's obvious. Dark shirt, sleeves rolled up, tie already loosened, like rules are more of a suggestion than anything else. That first week, people whispered his last name in cafeteria lines. They traded rumors like currency. The Valens don't just donate wings to the academy. They own them. Old money. Old influence. Old power that doesn't always bother to stay legal. I haven't really met him. Not properly. But there have been moments. Passing him on the stairs and feeling his gaze skim over me like a question he's already answered. Sitting 2 rows behind him in applied sigils. Watching silver ink flow effortlessly from his pen, while mine scratches and sputters. And then there are the stories. That his mark burns hotter than anyone else's. That nobody he claims stays unprotected or untouched for long. I tell myself I don't care. That it doesn't matter what his voice sounds like up close. That it doesn't matter how his silver eyes would look if they focused on me instead of Arkenfall's glittering social ladder. I'm here to survive, not to be chosen. The clock on my wall ticks over to 11:47 p.m. I stretch, roll my shoulders, close my notebook. The ink swims a little on the page. I'm too restless to pretend I care about exam dates and rune variations. The rain picks up, tapping a quick and nervous rhythm against the glass. Outside, voices rise and fall in the quad. A burst of drunken singing. The distant flare of someone's enchanted laughter. Spell going off like a firework. I pull my cardigan tighter around me and move to the window. From up here, the after dark ball looks like another world. Golden lights hang from the courtyard trees and sway gently in the wind. Clusters of students in emerald, deep red, and ink black drift across the lawn like game pieces. At the center, under the largest tree, the marking circle glows with a soft silver light. Even from this distance, I can see the way couples step into it 2 by 2. The air shimmers around them for a heartbeat as their wrists brush, and the magic decides whether they're worthy of a bond. Some emerge laughing, unmarked. Others come out with their wrists glowing softly, cheeks flushed, eyes wide like they've just signed a contract with their own desire. I press my forehead lightly to the cool glass. "Not for you," I whisper. "You're not here for that." Behind me, my dorm room hums with familiar clutter. Books, blankets, the faint citrus of my cheap candle. Safe, predictable. I turn away from the window. I don't know it yet, but somewhere between the rain, the music, and the silver glow of the marking circle, my name is already being written. By the time I crawl into bed, the ball has blurred into background noise. The music has settled into a steady pulse, low and distant, like a heartbeat under the floorboards. The rain has softened to a gentle hiss. I lie on my side with the blanket pulled up to my chin, watching the sliver of light under my door. Someone laughs out in the hallway, high and breathless. Then a door clicks shut. The corridor goes quiet again. Safe. Contained. I let my eyes close. For a while there's nothing but my own breathing and the rain. My thoughts drift. Tuition deadlines, exam schedules. The way Kade Valen leaned in the library doorway earlier this week. Sleeves pushed up. Tie gone. Like the whole academy exists just to give him somewhere interesting to be bored. I exhale, annoyed with myself. "Stop it," I mutter. "You're not his type. You're not anybody's type here." The clock ticks on the wall. 11:58 p.m. The first sign that something is wrong is the cold. It slips into the room without warning. A thin, sharp draft that makes the hairs on my arm stand up. My breath comes out in a faint, visible wisp. I frown and open my eyes. The window is closed. The heater in the corner still hums quietly. Nothing looks different. Then my left wrist starts to sting. At first it feels like a cramp from too much note-taking. A dull ache I could almost ignore. I flex my fingers and rub the heel of my palm over the inside of my wrist. The sting sharpens. Heat blooms under my skin, small and focused, like someone has pressed the tip of a lit match just beneath the surface. I hiss softly and sit up, pushing the blanket down. The room feels wrong now, too quiet. The music from the quad seems farther away, swallowed up by the rushing in my ears. I swing my legs over the side of the bed and lift my arm closer to my face. At first there's nothing, just pale skin, a faint indentation where my bracelet usually rests. Then, light. A thin thread of silver flickers beneath the surface, tracing a line along the inside of my wrist. It pulses once, twice, in time with my heartbeat. Then it begins to spread, curling into delicate, unfamiliar shapes. "No," I whisper. "No, no, no." Marks don't just appear. They require consent. Two people stepping into the circle together. Two willing wrists offered to the magic. That's the rule. The one rule everyone agrees on, no matter how rich or reckless they are. I haven't touched anyone tonight. I haven't even left my room. The heat intensifies, pushing a bead of sweat down the back of my neck. Silver lines flow faster now, weaving and crossing, forming something deliberate. A pattern? A symbol? Letters? My pulse hammers. The room feels smaller. The shadows feel deeper. The rain outside roars in my ears like an ocean. I stand on shaky legs and cross to the window, needing more light. The courtyard below swims into view through streaks of water, tiny figures, glittering fabric. The soft halo of the marking circle still glowing under the old tree. Another spike of pain lances through my wrist. I gasp and press my palm flat to the cold glass. The world narrows until all that exists is the burn beneath my skin and the silver glow bright enough to cast faint reflections on the window. Slowly, trembling, I turn my wrist so I can see it clearly. The lines have settled. Curves and sharp edges resolve into something devastatingly simple. A name. Valen. For a heartbeat, everything goes silent. No rain, no music, no ticking clock. Just that word, carved in light over my pulse. Like the universe has written it there and signed it in silver. My knees nearly buckle. Kade Valen, I breathe. His name tastes strange on my tongue. Too heavy for such a small room. It doesn't make sense. People lie to get near marks like his. They fight over rumors of his attention. They don't hide in tiny dorm rooms with secondhand blankets, chipped mugs, and overdue library books. This has to be a mistake, a magical glitch, a side effect of too many late nights and too much caffeine. The mark pulses, hot, insistent, as if offended by the thought. Heat shoots up my arm, spreads through my chest, and floods my body with a dizzy, weightless feeling. Like the moment a roller coaster drops and there's nothing underneath you. Images flash behind my eyes. The courtyard, the glowing circle, a tall figure in black under the old tree, silver eyes half-lidded, bored, while someone laughs too loudly at his side. A feeling, low and terrifyingly intimate, like the brush of a stranger's breath against the back of my neck. Mine. The word isn't mine, but I feel it as clearly as if someone has whispered it into my ear. I jerk back from the window, heart racing, clutching my wrist to my chest. This isn't happening, I say to the empty room. I didn't agree to this. I didn't step into any circle. You can't just... A soft knock sounds at my door. 3 slow, deliberate taps. The mark on my wrist flares white hot. Open up, scholarship girl. The voice on the other side of the wood is low and smooth. There's amusement threaded through it, but not much warmth. I freeze. I've heard that voice in lecture halls from the back row, in corridors, wrapped lazily around someone's name like a promise. Once, cutting through the quiet of the library to ask a professor a question no one else would have dared to phrase that way. Kade, I whisper, even though there's no way he can hear me. Another knock. Same calm rhythm, like he has all the time in the world. I'm not going away, he adds. You might want to see this from my side before it burns through your skin. My brain screams at me to stay silent. Lock the door. Hide. Wait him out until he gets bored and drifts back to his glittering world. But the mark pulses again, sharp, insistent. It drags a soft sound from my throat. Before I can talk myself out of it, I cross the room and wrap my fingers around the doorknob. The metal is cold. I turn it and open the door. Kade Valen is leaning in the doorframe like he's been there his whole life. Up close, the details hit harder. Dark hair, falling just messy enough to look intentional. Black dress shirt, sleeves rolled to his forearms. Collar open to reveal a hint of warm skin and the edge of a silver chain. A small ring in his brow catches the hallway light when he tilts his head and his eyes. They're worse than I remember. Silver, yes, but not flat or cold. Bright, sharp, alive as they sweep over me. His gaze drops to my wrist, still glowing faintly between us. There it is, he says softly. I was starting to wonder if you'd fainted. I swallow. My voice comes out thinner than I want. This has to be a mistake. One corner of his mouth curves. Arkenfall Circle doesn't make mistakes, he says. People do. Circles don't. He lifts his own left hand. His wrist is bare. No glow, no delicate pattern. Just tanned skin. Veins faintly visible under the surface. Confusion must be all over my face because his smile deepens. I didn't need the circle tonight, he says. There are other ways to make a claim. He straightens and steps just inside my room without asking. He doesn't need to. The air seems to shift around him, annoyed it didn't move sooner. Up close, I can smell him. Clean and warm, edged with smoke and rain. I instinctively take a step back. He doesn't follow. Instead, he raises his hand between us, palm open. May I? He asks. It takes a second for me to understand. My wrist, I manage. His eyes flick up to mine. For the first time, I see something like patience there. That mark is going to keep burning until it finishes settling, he says. I can dull it, but only if you let me touch you. The word touch seems to vibrate in the small room. My skin already feels too tight. The mark throbs, sending sparks up my arm and across my chest. I can keep pretending this isn't happening, or I can find out what it means. I lift my arm slowly. His fingers close around my wrist. Warm, firm. The world narrows to that single point of contact. The burn flares bright, then softens. It's like his touch gives it somewhere to go. My knees weaken. I have to lock them to stay upright. Better? He murmurs. I nod, not trusting my voice. He turns my wrist gently, studying the silver letters as if they're a poem written just for him. Valen glows steadily. The light beats in time with my heart. He brushes his thumb once, lightly, over the edge of the mark. A shiver shoots through me. Hot. Electric. He feels it. I see the quick flash of satisfaction in his eyes before he hides it. Why? I manage. Why me? You have an entire ball full of people who'd kill for this. I didn't even go. That's exactly why, he says. He doesn't look away from my wrist as he speaks. Anyone can stand in a circle and hope the magic decides they're worth a pretty glow and a few weeks of attention. You, his gaze lifts to mine, stay out of the light. You do the work. You don't ask for anything. His thumb stills on my skin. People like that don't get what they deserve at Arkenfall unless someone cheats on their behalf. My breath catches. This is cheating, I whisper. Absolutely, he says. You can yell at me for it later. For now. He lets my wrist go slowly, his fingers trailing over my skin like a reluctant goodbye. I need you at the next after dark ball, he says, midnight under the old tree. Wear something you don't mind ruining. Heat climbs my neck. I never agreed to be part of this, I say. You can't just decide I belong to you because you're bored. Something flickers across his face. For a second, the lazy amusement drops. What's underneath is darker, sharper. Don't make the mistake of thinking I did this because I was bored, Alara. The way he says my name makes my stomach flip. He steps back into the doorway. One hand rests on the frame. You can pretend you don't care, he says. You can ignore the way your pulse jumps every time this burns with my name. You can even hate me for it if that makes it easier. His gaze drops once more to my wrist, then returns to my face. But you can't undo it. He smiles. Slow. Dangerous. Beautiful in a way that feels like a warning. Sleep, scholarship girl, he says. You'll need your strength. With that, he turns and walks down the hall, unhurried, like he's just finished a casual conversation instead of rearranging my entire life. I stand there until the sound of his footsteps fades. Then I close the door softly and lean my back against it. The room feels different now. Same four walls, same bed, same stack of notes on my desk. But nothing feels safe anymore, or maybe nothing feels small. I look down at my wrist. The glow has faded to a soft, steady shimmer, like moonlight caught beneath my skin. Without thinking, I raise it to my lips and press a kiss just below the letters. I freeze, horrified at myself. What are you doing? I whisper. There's no answer, just the quiet tick of the clock. 12:07 a.m. Outside, the rain has settled into a steady, soothing curtain, muffling the last echoes of music from the quad. I crawl back into bed and lie on my back, staring at the ceiling. Every time I close my eyes, I see his. Silver. Steady. Watching me like I'm the first interesting thing he's seen all night. My wrist pulses once, a soft, warm throb against my chest where I've tucked my hand. Maybe, if I try hard enough, I can pretend this is a strange dream, a stress-induced hallucination brought on by too much studying and not enough sleep. But somewhere, underneath the fear and confusion, something else curls quietly. Anticipation. I exhale slowly and let my eyes close, letting the sound of the rain pull me under. I don't know what will happen when midnight comes again. I only know one thing. For the first time since I arrived at Arkenfall, I'm not planning how to disappear. I'm waiting to see what happens if I stay.